Sorry, guys. We were talking behind the scenes. You guys know Isaac. It's been a hot minute since we've had you on. I think it was
it's been a while.
draft last season. Draft.
It was last year, yeah.
Because I think you were on with NFC Outdated, Andy.
Yeah, I was just on the show last month or February. I went on the show a few times this year. It was fun. That was good. Yeah. Andy, I love his show. It's the best. Seriously. His show's awesome.
That's the first time they were on our show.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Out of all our friendship. And I was just telling Isaac, we've been friends for over a year. Free agency.
Yeah.
Last year.
So you got birds. I've got I don't know what my dog's doing. So
hey, it could be worse. I could have alligators here. Just not saying anything, but hi, you guys are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. Oh wow, Chris. Wow. Okay. Fine. Hi, you guys are watching the Mac and Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Mary, and Isaac will be the guest tonight. If you want to follow him on social media, please know that.
Yeah, I got you. So I'm on Twitter, Fun Football Pod. Please go give me a follow. Chris, you're funny. We are late. Trying to hit 10K on there. I'd appreciate it. We just had a player on this week. It was great. And on YouTube, TikTok, I've been having fun on there. I don't know if you've seen that. And Facebook and Instagram. I've actually started putting stuff on Instagram. It's been fun. So yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It's been cool too. I met a few after this show tonight. It won't be live, but I'm going on the Doghouse podcast. I met them on Instagram. So there's actually a lot of people on there. So yeah, it's cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, we did some stuff last year, and we're gonna talk. We're gonna do some Packer stuff. This is gonna be fun.
Yes. So as we know, I've never done an NFL free agency episode besides Jaguars yet. Actually, a lot of people don't know that.
Really?
Yeah, I've only done one episode, and I called it quits already about free agency. So this is my second free agency. I think I might do it more in depth. Oh, speaking of free agency, Justin has a question for you. Can you see questions by any chance?
Yeah, I can see it. The Nate Hobbs signing. Okay, so here's the deal. I like it, but I don't know if I like it for that price. Here's the problem: is that it's a 4-year, $48 million deal. Yeah. And this guy, I saw some metrics that said he was pretty good last year, and I like him. But here's my question mark: is he's a slot corner. The one reason I do sort of like it is because we're not sure what's going to happen with Jair Alexander, and he's only 25 years old. He'll be 26 soon. But my debate with this guy is I feel like we could have got him for a lot less money, and I wish we'd allocated the money towards receiver, even though there wasn't a lot of receivers out there. Yeah. But if he's our nickel corner and Jair actually plays next to Nixon, then I feel like we only need one more DB in the draft, and we've got Valentine's not great, but he's decent. Right. That's a pretty good corner room. The question is that then if Jair is injured and Hobbs has to start, I don't know how it's going to work.
Right.
He was decent last year, 5 pass deflections, 1 pick in 11 games, 7 starts. But one website I saw had him at a $5 million contract. We signed him for 12, like 4 to 5. Yeah. So it might have been an overpay, but I like that we added some depth at a position that we needed to add depth at.
Right. It's like, what is Jair Alexander going to do this year? It's like, what is Aaron Rodgers going to do this year? Another name that is unknown. It's like, it's hard to decide.
I'm not entirely sure if Jair is leaving either. I see Justin's question. I have no idea what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers goes to the Steelers. I think they've already worked a deal. I just don't think it's public yet. I think he's just dragging his feet. Jair, here's the problem. Even if he's not leaving, he's not available. The dude's missed way too many games the last 2 years. Exactly. And I'm kind of ready to be done with him and Christian Watson because they never play.
Right.
Watson's not going to play much this year. We're going to have to decide on his 5th-year contract with.
Wait, no, we don't. Not on Watson.
Oh, you're right. He's only 4 years. Yeah,
no, he's a second-round pick.
You're right. So we're going to have to decide if we want to.
It's Quay Walker's and Devontae.
Aaron Rodgers is 41. He just needs to retire. He needs to take the rest of his career and just He was not good last year with the Jets. It's
No.
time to retire.
No,
And
but it's Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt for first years.
Wyatt's going to
this
be
year.
Wyatt's going to be interesting because he finally started playing
Mhm.
good last year, so he's going to probably play out of his mind this year because he wants to get paid.
Agreed.
And Quay's the same deal, and I don't know how much he's worth, as decent as he's been, because he isn't elite and he makes a lot of mistakes. But
Mhm.
back to Jair, I just don't. He's never available. I
Agreed.
would be up for trading him
Mhm.
if a different player were to come available, like a Trey Hendrickson, or if their receiver were to pop up on draft night. I think it'd be or we could pair Jair with another pick and move up and go land us a receiver like Ted McMillan or Golden in the first round.
Right.
That's what I'd like to see us do.
I agree. One team, I'm not sure if you've seen this, the Ravens for Jair, possibly. But the thing is, the Ravens are lower or are higher than us by like a couple of picks though. So they would have to they're because they got out after us in playoffs.
Oh yeah. They're lower in the first round. Yeah.
Devontae Adams has been signed, Chris. Yes. To the Rams. That was a crazy deal too. All of like week 1 of free agency this year has been crazy. It's like
Devontae Adams went to the Jets and
then DK went to the Rams. Yeah. And then like DK Metcalf. Like what?
That was the one I was hoping we'd get on, but I knew the Packers weren't going to do it because here's the problem. Our GM, we're cheap at receiver, and it's starting to really make me mad. I think they're finally going to draft a receiver in the first round, and I'm hoping one of these guys actually pans out because it's kind of a weak receiver class. It's a little frustrating. Like, this isn't like, I don't think there's a Justin Jefferson in this class. Those don't grow on trees. But even last year, Brian Thomas Jr., some of the guys that were available last year, they're not like Malik Neighbors. They're in this class, sadly.
Yeah.
But I like that Devontae Adams moved to the Rams. I was kind of hoping we'd get him, but he is aging. That still would have been an upgrade though over doing nothing. So if we wait till the second round and we don't grab like a Jaden Higgins, which is a guy I'll talk about in a minute more. But if we don't land an impact receiver in the first or second round, I don't think it's going to matter what happens this year because our receivers are not good enough. Without take Christian Watson off that receiving core, and you're left with Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and Dontavian Wicks. I don't see that team as being a contender with those as your top three receivers. Jaden Reed's going to have to be take a massive step forward, and I just don't see it. So I really hope we hit receiver. I was hoping we'd get in the market for DK, but our GM isn't going to go give up first or second round pick and then pay a guy $30 million. So I knew that wasn't going to happen. So yeah,
I wanted DeAndre Hopkins. That was one that I was looking out for. Is DeAndre?
Well, DeAndre is he's like when he was in his prime.
He's older,
I loved him, but
I know
he's not number one anymore.
I know he's older, but he would have been a great wide receiver with the Packers, though.
Yeah, he would.
Or another one I've been mentioning, and he's still a free agent, is the wide receiver that was with the Dolphins. Okay. Justin, we'll talk about him in a little bit. Just because I don't remember the person's name I'm thinking of. If you guys know the name, please put it in chat.
It was Mike Kiddo. Sorry. That was one.
You're fine. No, there's a wide receiver right now on the. No, I know, not Tyreek. It's a rookie that the Packers had a couple years ago. Oh. I have it on my list. Thank you, Justin.
She just got home from dance, so she wants
to No, I was thinking Grant DuBose from the Dolphins. He's still a free agent. He was with the Packers.
And people were big on him, but he hasn't done anything, so I don't know.
He did have a major injury, a head injury last season, though. I remember that.
Yeah, would
it be risky?
We need to get serious at receiver, but this wasn't a deep receiver class for free agency or the trade market, so we needed to get more serious.
Okay. So
and we didn't.
Justin mentioned a name, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek.
I'm curious if he's lost a step too, but he's only 30. He'll be 31. Like Hopkins is gonna. Here's the problem with DeAndre Hopkins. He's gonna be 33 in a couple months, and there's been a big drop off with him. Like he only had like 600 yards last year, and that's a far cry from where he was at his apex. It's not just about stats, but if you watch, Hopkins still made some plays last year. I think he can be a role playing receiver, but we need a dude who can mentor the young kids and be a number one, or a rookie who can step in and hopefully be a number one. I'm a little worried that we didn't address it, but Tyreek's interesting because he got in another domestic dispute.
Did he?
Yeah, I didn't hear all about it. Maybe Justin read more on it. I was reading a little bit on. I was reading on Draft Guys today, and I was reading on Packer stuff, and then getting ready for the Georgia show later. But the problem with Tyreek is, I don't think we're gonna do that, even though I like the idea, because he's making so much money. And he's 30 years old and he's a smaller guy. And if he loses his elite speed, he doesn't have size. So he could fall off rather quickly. Yeah, they responded to something with his home. He just turned 31. Yeah, he just turned 31. Here's the thing, though. I'm looking at his stuff, and he still had almost 1,000 yards last year. 2 was hurt. My concern is that his catch, he dropped like over 3. He was at 15 yards a catch, and he dropped to below 12. So that's a big drop off.
Yeah. Okay.
But he still had almost 1,000 yards. He still would have been better than anybody on the Packers.
But what would you trade for him, though? Because you would have to trade for him. But what?
Second.
Oh, okay.
Or a third-round pick, and maybe probably a second and a third, or a third and I don't know. The problem is you probably got to give up a first, but maybe if you can get away with a second and like a day 3 pick, like a 4th or 5th round pick, maybe you can get away with it and do that. Maybe.
Or MVS was another name I was watching very closely. MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
That wouldn't be too bad because it'd give us a deep threat. But I just wish
30.
we could get a guy.
Yeah, he's 32.
We need someone who can come in and be a number one.
Exactly.
Like when you look at the Vikings receiving core or the Lions or the Bears, just in our division, they're all better significantly. No. And it's not a slight against us, but when our running back, when Josh Jacobs comes out and says we need a number one receiver.
Exactly. Listen.
We need a number one receiver. We've got to go get one if we want to be taken seriously as a contender. But not only receiver, we've got to improve at edge rusher, and we didn't do anything in free agency.
Thank you.
Our 2 biggest things, and this is, I like Aaron Banks. I think that was a little bit of an overpay too, but it solidifies our offensive line. But McCole Hardman is not gonna help our receiving core. He'll be a return man, but he hasn't even been a super impact return man. He might make a few plays here and there, but that doesn't move the needle with our receiving core at all. He didn't do anything for the Chiefs last year either. So he barely played for them, and their receiving core was worse than ours, honestly.
Yeah. So that says something, guys. When Isaac says that says something. If the Chiefs, because the Chiefs were worse than us by far, and that says something.
Xavier Worthy was good down the stretch, and I think he's going to be really awesome for him. And they've got Rasheed Rice maybe coming back this year. He's coming off the injury. James Jefferson, Hardman's just a stopgap until Chris Watts come back. I'm willing to give him a chance. We need to get serious at receiver, and I think we need to draft multiple. In the first round, if there's a way to move up for Tet or Matthew Golden, that's the move. I like Ibuka. He's got injury concerns. I don't want to draft another plagued receiver, but he's got upside. The guy I like more than him, Golden would be my number 1 with Tet. They're like tied.
Okay.
I like Luther Burden. I think he would be excellent for us. He's I really like what I saw on tape. He's shifty. I think he can get really good separation. He's a 4.41 speed guy, 5'11", 208 pounds. On Draft Buzz, he grades out at an 87.5, which is the 4th receiver off the board, right behind Golden, because Travis Hunter's translating as the number 1 receiver now. So Ted's the number 2, because everybody thinks Hunter's going to be the number one. He's going to be a receiver instead of a corner. But Luther Burden, the only concern is that the whole passing efficiency dropped a bunch in 2024 from 2023. But the dude, I really like. His catch rate is almost 86%. He's a great yards after the catch guy. He's one like Brian Thomas Jr., not quite on that level, but he's one who I think could be an impact player at the next level. I really like him. Igbuka, I think I'm just concerned about his injury potential, but I like him almost as much. I don't think he's going to be that at our next spot. We pick at, what do we pick? We pick at 23 and then 54. I don't know if Jaden Higgins is going to be there, but this is one guy I'm really hoping we might have to trade up for him in the second round. But from Iowa State, he's 6'4", 214 pounds. I'm a little concerned with his separation, his acceleration, but he's 6'4", 214, elite size, 4.47 speed. So he's he's fast at that size. I just picked him on my last Packer mock draft. I think he'd be awesome.
Okay, so I sent you something. Do we want to discuss what the Packers are doing with offensive linemen? Because that's, I don't know. With the Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Aaron Banks at left guard, Elton Jenkins to center, and then.
Yeah, we can hit that. So if Jenkins is cool with it and down, he's been awesome for us. I think this could work out. I'm just concerned about Morgan. I'm worried he's going to be a bust if he doesn't start this year, because there were other dudes there last year, so that kind of makes me mad. But it's
I know it does, because you weren't on the live stream when we drafted him. Never mind.
No, I watched it. It was nice.
No, I know.
I haven't decided this year. I'm thinking about it, but we'll see. It's a 3-hour thing, and I kind of like watching the draft shows, but we might just do it. But I think Banks could be really good. It was a lot of money to pay for a guard.
Right.
It's going to depend on if our tackle spots are solidified, because if Banks is good, our offensive line could be really interesting sliding Jenkins over. I'm a little concerned that we paid him too much, but I'm just going to be curious if Walker or Morgan start the tackle.
Right.
So that's what's going to be interesting to me. But I feel like we were trying to kind of do what the Eagles are doing, having a super dominant offensive line and go run heavy, because I think we know that our receivers aren't going to be great, and we're cheap about it. Even if we get a good one in the draft or two, I think we need two receivers, honestly, because Wicks is decent, but he can't really start, and Dubs is up and down. And Reed was kind of up and down last year too. We kind of need multiple guys. So, having Zach Tom, I feel like our offensive line is pretty dang solid. We drafted Monk last year. He's a solid depth guy. We got Banks. Jenkins will slide to center. We'll have Ryan probably at right guard, and then Talm at right tackle. It's just going to depend on who can play left tackle. Walker is a pretty solid pass protector. It'll either be him, or if Morgan can finally develop, Morgan will play left tackle. One of them will. So, I think it's going to be a pretty darn good offensive line. That's one of my few. Other than Morgan, I'm not super worried about it. I like the bank signing. I just wish, if we could have pitched that money to Davante Adams instead, that would have been my move. But games are won in the trenches. We're starting to figure that out with our offensive line. Now we need to go hit our defensive line.
Yeah.
Especially because we lost TJ Slayton too.
That one hurt a lot. Bengals fans were texting me right away, like asking me how well was TJ Slayton. And I'm like, you guys, he learned from Kenny Clark. Like,
well, and that sucks because our he was pretty solid for us, but for how, for the money he got, I would have done it, but it's okay. I think that we're going to find out what Devontae Wyatt's got, and this might be the time to go draft a defensive tackle. But more than that, we've got to go get we got to get our pass rush. The fact that we had 43 sacks was a little misleading, because we got almost no pressure against Detroit and Minnesota and Philly. almost none. And we played all those teams twice last year, and we couldn't. There was no pass rush at all.
None at all. Really quick, Brandon McManus, 3 years.
Now he had some domestic stuff himself, but
right.
We were willing to overlook that because he was pretty good for us last year. And we needed. I am happy that we solidified kicker. I don't like him personally, but he's 33. He can still play for a few years. Yeah, he had sexual lawsuit stuff against him, but he came in for us and was 20 of 21. Missed no extra points, only missed one kick.
Right.
He was pretty good. So you know what? I like that we got kicker locked down. He's only, like I said, how old is he? Okay, he'll be 34 later. He'll be 34 later this year, but he's only a kicker. So that having a 3-year deal, we've got kicker locked down for a while, and that burned us the year before. But I agree with Justin. We need to see if Van Ness can take a jump because Goody's kind of missing on some picks. So we locked down kicker. We brought back, I think it was McDuffie, a linebacker.
Yes,
so
McDuffie and Christian Welch from the Ravens as well.
So
he's an inside linebacker.
Okay.
For 1 year.
Okay.
I wrote down the contract, but yes.
How much did he get signed for? Like I didn't even. I knew what you were talking about, but I didn't. I don't even. Yeah.
1,170, and then a lot of zeros after. If you're wondering,
I agree with James. I think we should go out. If there was a receiver or an edge before the draft, we should go flip Jair and a 2nd-round pick and go try to land. Because imagine this. What if we went and flipped Jair Alexander, a 2nd-round pick, if they took it, and a 4th round next year for Trey Hendrickson? Then we could go draft a receiver in the 1st round. And if that receiver was good, our pass rushing and our receiver issues would be almost solved with 2 players. Now we need some depth at receiver, and we need Van Ness to provide depth at edge rusher because you really need 3. But we don't even have one. Like we've got Gary, and that's it. And he's not. Yeah. He's good, but he's not elite.
And the fact that he made Pro Bowl was crazy enough.
7.5 sacks? No.
Yeah, no. I know you have another show tonight too, so I'm like trying to.
45 minutes. Well, yeah. I need to hop off like 5-10 minutes before, but yeah, no worries.
I know. I was letting you know, or letting the chat know.
The wife's out with a friend, so this is fun. So here's the thing: if we don't, the way I see us this year, if we don't improve our pass rushing, our defensive tackle situation now that Slayton's gone, I like Wyatt, but if we don't improve there, and honestly, even though I like DB with Jerry out, it could be a weakness. Even though Nixon was good, I like Hobbs, but DB is an interesting spot too. But if we don't improve at receiver and pass rush or defensive line and receiver, I think our ceiling's wild card. We might struggle to even make it that far because the Bears went out and hit offensive line. The Vikings had it really depends on JJ McCarthy, but if he's good, they're going to be tough. And the Lions, while they lost 2 coordinators, they went out and addressed a lot of problems in free agency.
Exactly.
So if we want to keep up with the rest of the division, we got to fix this stuff right now. And if there's a trade on draft night, sometimes players get traded, like Hendrickson. What if a receiver?
Wasn't AJ Brown traded 2 seasons ago too?
Yeah,
to the Titans or to the Eagles. That's when the Eagles got him.
Yes,
it's in the draft a couple years ago. I don't think so, James.
The Lions could take a step back, losing 2 coordinators. The problem is that they're getting a bunch of guys back this year from on defense. So I'm worried that they're still going to be, for Packer fans, I'm worried the Lions, they're not going to be 15-2, but they're still going to be really tough. But 2 coordinators can be a big loss. James makes a good point. Let me check out, what are the Lions doing for agency again? I got to refresh.
Did you read Justin's comment about the Bengals might not be able to afford extending Trey? True.
Yeah, but they might just keep him for this year, and even though he's disgruntled, they might just keep him and then deal with it later. But I agree.
Myles Garrett situation all over again with Trey, possibly.
Yeah, but the Browns ended up extending Hendricks, even though they ticked him off. They ended up extending him. So,
True.
which was a weird move. I guess he finally just
Exactly.
decided they weren't going to let him go, so they paid him. But the
Right.
Lions signed Derek Barnes. They
Hmm.
got DJ Reed, so they improved at corner. They got Davenport. They went out and got Pittman. They did lose their guard. They got Dan Skipper to come back. They're going to have Montgomery back this year, and all those defensive dudes except for, oh my gosh, our old player,
Zedarius.
Zedarius. Yeah, that's the only one they lost. So
I'm thinking Zedarius would go to the Lions or Bears just to finish the NFC North.
My concern with the Bears, I like these comments. It's Mary. I just don't know the Bears. It's like it depends on if they got all these guys to protect Caleb.
No.
They always have protection issues, so I'm curious if if it's going to work, and if Caleb's can take that jump, and if Ben Johnson is actually that coach, because
exactly,
coach, it's going to be interesting. But if we want to be a serious Super Bowl contender, we have to give Jordan Love some more weapons and find out if he's good enough. And we have to be able to get after the other passer because they had all day. Whenever we played an elite line, the Lions and the Eagles, when the Vikings weren't even an elite line.
No.
They had all day.
They scorched us.
Of those, they really did. Our defense played pretty good against Philly, but Jalen Hurts still had plenty of time in that playoff game.
Disgusting.
And we played good against Saquon. We just had our offense couldn't do anything. Jordan Love took a step back this year, and our receivers can't get open.
Oh, there's a Chicago Bears fan / Packer fan in chat. Just so you know right now.
Is that Brittany?
Yeah, that's one of my friends from Florida.
Well, I hope you're right, but I think that if we don't get a receiver, no way. So we'll find out.
Well, she doesn't know about football. Like she doesn't know about NFL. So.
Oh, okay.
Like she's from Iowa, so. Guys,
I hope they do. I hope that Justin's right. Love was banged up, but if we don't get him a receiver, we're not going to see any progression. So we got to get serious here. And I've got a lot of receivers I like. So Jaden Higgins would be a guy in the second round, but I'm worried he won't fall to 54. Higgins would be awesome. I like Trey Harris. Jalen Noel would be pretty good at fourth. He's a 4.39, little smaller, but he'd be great. There's no way we're going to get Travis Hunter, but if we're willing to trade up for Tet McMillan or Matthew Golden, who ran a 4.29.
Oh, wow.
He's lightning speed. It's like Xavier Worthy. Seriously, this guy can fly, and he's also from Texas. So I think he would be excellent, and people really like him. I feel like Golden might go number one after Travis Hunter. He might be the first receiver off the board. So if we really want him, we're going to have to get aggressive and trade up for him. So we're going to find out.
Isaac, I know you have another show to go to, and I only had one more question for you because we pretty much covered everything that we said we would.
Actually. Yeah, I had a lot of Packer stuff. I've talked about him a lot this offseason. Kraft and Musgrave, I agree with Justin. Kraft and Musgrave are solid. I think Kraft's got potentially, he's probably my favorite weapon that we've got. And I like Jacobs, but if we could just get one impact receiver, then Jaden Reed will look good as a 2. Dubs or Wicks will look good as a 3 because I don't think Watson will come back. And I think the receiving core will look great. So I'm hoping James nailed it. They're leaving him hanging. Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. I could go out there and play receiver.
That's what Tom Grossi said too. So
they've done this forever. We were blessed because we had Devontae and he was awesome and we developed him. And before that we had Jordy. But since they drafted Devontae, they haven't hit on a receiver.
No.
And we just we're cheap. We don't ever go sign receivers. So
okay. Speaking of Tom Grossi, you know, I don't know if you know where this is going. Actually, as you know, we are working on a surprise for Tom Grossi.
Okay.
If he watches this episode, what would your message be to him?
Oh, you should come on, man. We'll have a blast. I'll bring my Bears. I'll bring my Bears co-host on, and it would just be a blast. But you know, that'd be great. I would love to have you on the show. It'd be really cool. Yeah.
You heard this? You heard Isaac. That's actually the classic answer to that question, actually.
So I hope he watches because he makes great content. I just think it'd be a lot of fun. But and I'd like to talk some serious deep dive Packers and ask like what you think, like if you've got prospects that you like at receiver, at edge. I didn't even get into edge rushers. I'm gonna hit that in a video soon, but who you like for the Packers, I'm gonna probably just do a video on that soon. So
yeah,
man, I think it'd be fun. I like talking Packers. So yeah.
I was about to say, what are your final thoughts, but you kind of just done it.
Well, other than receiver, I've got a couple dudes at edge really quick. Abdul Carter isn't going to happen. We're never going to trade up for him. If James Pierce Jr. was available, which I doubt it, this kid he's almost as athletic as Abdul Carter. But one guy I like, he's a little slower, but he's explosive as Nick Scorton from Texas A&M, or Med likes this guy, Jack Sawyer from Ohio State. We just need an impact player. If we can't land on both, I'm hoping that we can land one impact edge rusher or receiver in this draft. Because Goody, I love him, but he's missed on a lot of draft picks. So
we already know your opinion on Goody. We had this discussion last year on your show.
He just makes me mad. He does good things. I liked the Edgerrin Cooper pick last year was great. That's why I'm not worried about linebackers much anymore, because we got Edgerrin Cooper and then we got Quay Walker. That's a pretty good start. So
okay, Isaac, what shows do you have coming up?
So nothing else this week. I'm hopping on Doghouse. I'll have some YouTube videos for you guys. Next Monday, me and Matt will do a free agency recap and draft preview. And then next Friday, I'll be back with Jones. I'm trying to get Millie Goats on with us, or Mr. First Down. I think that'd be fun. And then we're going to have our 3-round mock. I don't know when, sometime Easter weekend. And then on April 21st, Ike Packers podcast will be coming on 8 p.m. If you don't know who they are, go Google Ike, IKE Packers podcast.
Yes. And I just sent Brittany your link to your channel.
Thank you.
So she might.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I'm 3 away from 750. My birthday's Friday. Go subscribe. Guys, I need 3 subscribers.
And you guys just heard it. Please subscribe to Isaac's channel.
Go check out, obviously, you're already watching it here, but go check out Mary's channel and her Twitter. She does awesome stuff. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, this one, you already know about this big one, but we have the privilege of interviewing Brandon Perna from That's Good Sports on next Thursday in the morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. No, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. If you guys do not know who Brandon Perna is, he's a friend of Tom Grossi's. That's a big one for us.
That's gonna be really cool. Seriously, that'll be awesome.
I know you have to go. You know what?
This was fun.
I'm gonna be mean to my fans. We can just send it.
Thanks, guys, for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.